Hi, everyone. My name is Anna, and welcome to today's message from our Fear series, Fear 102, The Fear of Letting Go, from Ecclesiastes 3:6. A time to seek, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away. This verse is part of a larger passage in the book of Ecclesiastes that tells us about the different times in our lives. And they are likened to seasons coming and going in life phases, each representing different experiences that we go through. And the lesson in this verse is to understand and experience life and get into balance at the appropriate time, which allows you to move forward. Very simply, we go through different cycles in our lives. And if we have learned and have discernment and wisdom that we need to grow, we unconsciously know what to change and accept. And we know that we move ahead. And in order to do that, sometimes we need to let go of what can't be changed. And because it doesn't serve our better outcome, we are just like the earth and how the earth goes through seasons. And we innately are born with the ability to grow, but as humans, we tend to fight that. And there's a lot that we can learn from nature and the changing of the seasons. We just need to tune into it. Now, I am a very driven person. If you know me at all, you know that when I set a goal, I don't spend lifetimes mapping it out, trying to get all my ducks perfectly aligned. I am looking for what I need to achieve and handle the obstacles that can possibly stop me as they occur. I know that nothing will ever be perfect, and to try to make it that way is a futile effort. It'll only delay my ability to achieve. And most often, this human trait serves me pretty well. But honestly, I have not always been a patient person, and I tend to move at the speed of light. Continually, I've been this way my whole life. And I used to see that as an attribute and even a gift. I always believed I was blessed in this ability, and I learned it early in life. Back when I was still in middle school even. I learned that I could quickly achieve most things. But that also meant that I was busy daydreaming instead of learning, which sometimes got me into trouble. Well, fast forward to being an adult, and while I got through school and achieved my diploma despite hardship and graduating a little late, I was well on my way. At 23 years old, I was making achievements, opening and closing small home businesses, climbing the ladder literally as a firefighter. And in my 9 to 5, I was honestly hitting my head on the ceiling. Because at that time, well, women, they weren't well received in the career path that I chose. But I was determined. I was not going to let some egotistical men tell me that I couldn't do something. And I became obsessed with being the best at my job. I worked hard to make sure I was. But then something happened, and I decided to stop. I decided that I had to let this go. Because, well, it felt like a losing game. I had been passed up for promotions, and I no longer had the drive to be the best at this one thing. My spark was gone. And I was confused and I felt a little lost. And my last day was hard. But I used that commercial driver's license I had, and I became a school bus driver, and I went to business school. And I cooked in a cafe at night to make my ends meet. I relinquished my life to the unknown. I understood even then that something that I might have to sometimes give up was a crucial life skill. And in that way, it can save us from unnecessary disappointment in our lives. And I knew that growth simply came from accepting that. Somehow, innately. And at 25, I took a step back and changed my entire career path. Now I'm going to call it intuition, but in fact, what I didn't know is that this was God telling me something very important. Discernment was telling my soul that my season was changing. And what was about to happen in my life was a dream of mine. And I had no idea that my entire world was about to flip. because very soon after, just a few short months later, I found out I was having a baby, who subsequently now is also having a baby. I was at a crossroad in my life, and God had set me up to accept it. All the while, I unknowingly was just following the path, something that I had always done out of intuition and my drive to achieve. And in looking back, working 24 hours on and 48 hours off wouldn't have cut it anyway if I was going to be a mom. So I had made a 360-degree turn and started over without even knowing the outcome, having no idea that in a few short months I would understand more clearly that both searching my soul and accepting the path ahead and letting go would become the most important part of my journey. You see, God had given me a gift, wisdom imparted with simplicity. And I understood what it was, and I would spend most of my adult years honing it in. Learning to be patient and letting go was a hard lesson for me. I'm pretty good at it now. And now I've been given an even more important gift, which allows me to share my experience with you and teach others how to overcome obstacles in their life by grief coaching. It is simply the most profound part of my journey so far. I have learned over the years how to build on and when to let go, because sometimes in our search to make our lives more fulfilling, we just don't find what we need and want. And it is then that we have to make the decisions consciously or subconsciously and accept that it's perfectly okay to give up and let go of what no longer serves us or brings us peace. It is about growth and understanding in that maybe something that we once loved and cherished may now be nothing more than an anchor, holding us in place and weighing us down. So today, my friends, my message is this. Keeping something valuable sometimes means hanging on, and with that comes memories that make us richer. But letting go and recognizing that sometimes what we love no longer contributes to the life of us or our journey. This can be people like friends or acquaintances, places like jobs, or even memories that disrupt our peace. And some experience, once cherished, can no longer be a priority. And that means searching within and asking to be guided by God and how to prioritize the important things in your life. And by doing so, you'll naturally follow the journey meant for you. And later in your life, when you reflect on your faith and on your decisions, you'll realize that all along you had the answers embedded deep in your soul. God put them there a long time ago. You just forgot how to use them. In prayer, ask God to help you remember who you are and how to use the gifts given to you. You've always had them. Trust me, they're there. Don't choose to struggle. Life is overwhelming enough. Accepting God's will in your life and understanding that letting go gracefully is an important lesson to learn. Knowing the importance of when to fight and when to surrender will allow you to move to the next season of your life. Reflection is a challenge sometimes. I know because I've had to do it. Not just once either, many, many times in my life. And sometimes I've stayed too long because, well, I'm a little stubborn and driven. And I'm human. So today, pray for discernment and wisdom so you know who and what to trust and align with your life in God's will. When you choose God, His timing and clarity erases confusion, and you'll find balance in your life and in love. Surrender teaches resilience, and that is not a passive choice, but a necessary one. Reliance is wisdom, and I promise with all the love that I have to give you, that ultimately each season will hold a lesson in the beauty of love and life. Keep pushing forward in faith, and my friends, know when to let go of the past. My friends, God has greater things ahead for you. Choose them. Love is the answer. If this resonated with you, please like and share my post. And thank you for your donations to my divine mission and for helping me to keep my messages alive. I'll see you tomorrow.